lunch, a 10-kilometer rock weighing several trillion tons flew into the atmosphere. The gravity's pull was becoming exceedingly stronger, accelerating the object to a fantastic 20 kilometer per second speed. Like a piston, the asteroid squashed one 20-kilometer air column after another. Along with friction, this process heated the giant rock to tens of thousands of degrees Celsius, making it much brighter than the sun. At the same time, the Tyrannosaurus was having a little break from its lunch. It lifted its head up and was blinded by the light of the blazing sky. The dinosaur quickly lowered its head, closing its eyes, but the light was burning them, even through closed eyelids. The heat incinerated the reptile's skin, set fire to the trees and grass around it. A second later, the asteroid disappeared over the horizon, leaving the glowing sky behind. Tyrannosaurus Rex got a little break, but only for a moment. Nothing was happening for a few seconds, but then the sky got blindingly bright. The asteroid crashed into the Gulf of Mexico near the northern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. The energy released by the impact was approximately equivalent to 10 billion Hiroshima atomic bombs. In a second, the asteroid penetrated about 20 kilometers into the Earth's crust. The whole globe was shuddering like 1,000 bells from the impact. To put this into perspective, a relatively recent Krakatoa volcano eruption caused half of a crew member's eardrums to rupture on one of the ships 70 kilometers away. The asteroid's impact was 1,000,000 times more powerful. Furthermore, shockwaves rushed in all directions, faster than the speed of sound right after the collision. They were so strong that they skinned animals alive, lifted them up into the air, swirled them around, and crushed everything even hundreds of kilometers away from the crater. The heaviest dinosaurs flew like balloons. The T-Rex sustained a severe concussion and died in an instant. Immediately, the shockwave lifted its body up into the air for several seconds. The wave continued to spread, going a few times around the globe. But even before killing the T-Rex, the asteroid destroyed the herd of Alamosauruses that we saw previously. Animals were grazing right next to where the infernal rock fell. Dinosaurs couldn't escape the unthinkable heat. It burned everything to the ground, turning animal bones to ashes. Meanwhile, the female Ankylosaurus with her 4 babies was peacefully eating leaves in the forest. They were hundreds of kilometers away from the impact site. However, they died even before the Alamosauruses. The red-hot asteroid caused huge fires while passing through the atmosphere. One of them broke out where a family of ankylosaurs were grazing. The fire instantly incinerated the food. About 70 billion tons of pulverized stones, soot, ash, and carbon monoxide rose up as a result of eruptions. Then they began falling back into the atmosphere. Their friction against the air caused enormous temperature increase. A huge hot cloud of dust stormed across the planet, burning everything in its path. It was approaching Mongolia at a speed of 18,000 kilometers per hour. The temperature here rose to 150 degrees Celsius an hour and a half after the impact. All living creatures died. Or rather, almost all creatures. Our Tarbosaurus and several other animals managed to escape by hiding in an underground cave. They could hide out here while the killer cloud passed by. Soon, the temperature began to drop. This was followed by acid rain flooding the Earth because several 100 billion tons of sulfur compounds were being thrown into the troposphere along with other rocks. For weeks, sulfuric acid was pouring from the sky all over the planet. It poisoned the soil and water bodies. A dense blanket of dust, ash, and soot wrapped around the planet after volcanic eruptions, not letting any light and heat in. Even at noon, it was as dark as at night. The temperature dropped by 28 degrees Celsius. Impact winter set in. When hunger and thirst drove the Tarbosaurus and other animals out of the cave, they saw a world that looked strikingly different from before. It was cold, dark, and deserted. Only decay fungi and molds were able to reproduce under such conditions. There was no food for dinosaurs on the planet. Countless animals starved to death. Our Tarbosaurus didn't manage to survive either. Perhaps it was the last dinosaur on the planet. However, one can assume that occasional dinosaur eggs have been preserved intact somewhere underground. Young individuals hatched from them after some time. Tiny groups of dinosaurs emerged here and there. But cold weather, hunger, and disease contributed to their final demise. The era of dinosaurs came to an end. The Cenozoic era began. The dust clouds dissipated over the planet over the course of several decades, and heat and sunlight were finally able to reach the surface. Nature revived from the ruins. First, huge horsetails and ferns emerged yet again. They were closely followed by angiosperms and grass. Other animals who had been dominated by dinosaurs for millions of years were ready to march bravely into the new era. Mammals. Some of them survived the disaster in underground burrows. Others stayed on trees. They've become well adapted to extreme conditions, were quick to reproduce, and consumed relatively little food. They were guaranteed to thrive on the renewed planet. The success of mammalian evolution led to the emergence of Homo sapiens, who is now the dominant species on Earth.